our own opinions and experiences. We are not medical professionals.
In this podcast, we discuss our opinions about mental health, sobriety, addiction, and our pursuit of happiness and peace. This is Sober Mind.
Aw, yeah, everybody.
Man, with this setup, you need a producer, control room assistant.
Don't talk yet, Patrick.
Or just longer arms.
My God, look at all that shit I had to do. Hold on. Okay. We're here.
Are we set?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. This is where the sausage is made. Welcome to Sober Mind. My name is John.
I'm Judy.
I'm Patrick.
And here we have our very special guest that we've been talking about. Yeah, Lisa, welcome to the show. Odie, I don't know if you knew. I don't think Fem is on yet, but this is the special guest we've been talking about. So she has blessed us with her presence. We hung out yesterday. We had a fantastic conversation.
And some good food.
Yeah, and some good food.
It's one of the few times I'll beat Odie to the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably.
So you guys will see this is the temporary setup we have going on. This when I'm talking, I'll try to switch to me, but we don't need to see my face all the time. And then when the rest of the panel is talking, we'll switch this way. I tried to sit on Patrick's lap, but he quickly dismissed that whole notion and said it was not allowed. Also, I want to give Odie, our chat is not.
It was.
Oh, it is? Oh,
Yeah.
it did? It popped up?
Yeah.
It's
working.
Right. Okay, yeah. Okay. I cannot swivel around like this. This is not going to work. So you guys monitor the chat.
We'll try to keep an eye on the chat.
Yeah. Okay, so very special thanks to Odie. He helped with the CSS and all the custom coding for our chat overlay. Man, that looks good. So professional. Oh, beautiful. Perfect timing.
Thank you so much, Odie.
Yeah, Odie's a design wizard. And on that note, if you are a gaming fan, especially Mass Effect, go jump over to Twitch and check out Odie's stream and his community at ODN7. That's Odie November 7 at Twitch.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to catch him playing Mass Effect recently. He got the Star Wars, the Old Republic bug.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
And he has yet to jump into Elden Ring, too. We had a whole discussion about that. It's very dramatic. Okay. Let's jump into the show. Remember, we have grown folk conversations here where we talk about some deep and heavy shit, but we try to have
we keep it on the surface. Depends.
Yeah. I don't know if we've ever kept it really lighthearted, but okay, so we'll jump in with gratitude. Who wants to go first? Judy.
Put me on the spot. I really didn't prep anything for gratitude today. I'm grateful that Lisa's here to join us for the show. I'm grateful that we had some killer salmon yesterday. I didn't for some reason I did not prep anything for today. I'm grateful to be here.
That's okay. Life is good.
Life is good.
Practicing gratitude. Gratitude that way. Patrick?
I'm gratitude for, I've been saying it the past few days, but the serendipity of things, especially since we've been putting in the work. I was thinking about it after our meeting yesterday, like how awesome is that? At first, of course I was nervous. I'm like, I haven't met this person in person, only like virtually. And like, as soon as we started talking, it was great. I felt like we clicked, we were sharing stories. It was a wonderful experience. And it was just like, wow, like none of this would have been possible, without our journeys, on sobriety and our, different, the way the conversations even started for us to start making connections was just, a happenstance. And so I was just thinking about it. I was like, wow, You know, thinking a couple of years ago, if this was possible, I'd be like, not even on my radar of like possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my gratitude is number one, I'm super, super blessed that we have electricity and gas and groceries. In the Midwest,
Yeah.
we're going through a cold snap. It's 0 degrees. I think the high is going to be like 0 tomorrow. So it just, it's how it is in the Midwest, but it's always humbling when you realize, man, I've been in worse situations in the military. Oh shit, here goes John with his war stories. But it's the little things we take for granted. Like we have heat and we have the comforts of home. So, and
So no, I was just laughing. We're gonna have like, there's warnings out of like too much exposure. Don't take the animals outside. Like bundle up and whatever. And I know we're gonna turn the Chiefs game on later, and like some dude's gonna be in the stands all ripped, bare chested with 15 painted on his chest.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
just
you
like,
do know that since it's so cold now, the $300 tickets are now $50.
Yeah, I saw the price drops.
Oh,
man,
nice.
if
Just to get people to go to the game because it's so
it's
flipping
not
cold.
as bad as some other stadiums out there, but when you get in that bowl, man, you're fully exposed.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
were there for a Christmas Eve once.
I think we lasted like one inning or not inning,
I-
one quarter. And that
I
was
worry about the medical and help staff that are on site, you
Yeah.
know, because usually the people that are there, it's part of the culture. There's going to be a lot of people getting loaded trying to stay warm, and that does the
does
opposite,
the
effect,
opposite.
Yeah.
effect for
thins your blood right
people
out.
out there.
Yeah. So the other thing that with that gratitude, it's the comforts that we have, and man, talk about the cool. Lisa's here. Someone that we met, just all happenstance, how it all works out. I was able to sit down for an hour and a half last week, have Odie help me, and I chatted with him. The technology is amazing. There was like 0 delay, and I'm talking to a guy in Serbia. So, and I just wanted to reiterate too the conversation that we had yesterday, the four of us, just for context for the audience, we sat in our living room and we talked in length, but it was interesting how it just gravitated right around sobriety and our journeys
Yeah.
with all of that, and how you guys left and Judy and I were like, man, that was really, really fucking comfortable and really nice. It was, I didn't realize that it was something that I maybe needed, and it's, something I hope to continue in the future. And I guess we've got our own version of it down here, but just being able to sit back and
Yeah. Well, it's nice being here, but it's also different without having, cameras or a microphone in front of you or anything. You can just say basically whatever you want and cuss as much as you want.
yeah, For me, it was very introspective and meditative. So thank you, Patrick. Thank you very much, Lisa, for being here. Okay,
Lisa?
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. I am really excited to see y'all in person, and hello to my chat friends as well. It's nice to see y'all here. Yeah, we had a good drive down. It's really cold, and I shouldn't even say that because I'm from 2 states north, but it's cold. I thought we would gain something coming down here, but no. Anyway.
No, so you
You're
came
welcome.
right at the perfect time.
We did,
We wanted to make sure that you experienced your natural
Thank you.
environment.
I appreciate that. But yeah, no, it's just everything the last few days has been really awesome, and just super excited to be here and be healthy, and yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. I feel like I'm in an interview position, so I apologize.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for showing. We're
Let me get you a little desk.
Yeah.
Or we should set you up at the
the
drum
drum set.
on the drum throne.
Yeah.
That way you can just roll in with the bumtis when they need it.
but
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Today's topic is Stinkin Thinkin. It was Lisa's idea. This one's very, very apropos. When I was doing a little bit of, we try not to do a ton of research for the show because we want it to be organic. But the coolest little phrase that I came across that was very apropos to me is that we're always feeling our thinking, and that is 100% true. So we're gonna get into that discussion. I think it'll roll pretty smoothly. Also, just as a reminder, we started last week. For those of you that are on the chat, if you also want to contribute and throw in your gratitude, have at it. We'd like to see it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, so we'll transition into it. Lisa would like to share, as all three of us have done, her sobriety story and journey. And if you don't mind, Lisa, as you go through it, maybe we'll just rudely interrupt with questions and comments because we get pretty excited about it. So,
Please do.
all right.
So I was trying to think over the last couple of weeks how I wanted to present it, and what came to me was that throughout life there are these like benchmarks and these little moments where you have realizations that may not have otherwise come to you, and so I kind of thought through my story along those lines. Mostly the sobriety part. The other part, I mean, if you're here, you know what that's about, right? Like,
Right.
Started early, didn't really, and mine was almost probably 99% self-medicating, some depression, and long-term kind of, I'm an empath and I feel everything. And
Oh, yes.
growing up, I wasn't, like, I don't know that I really learned how to completely process that. And so I just took it all internally. And
Which is really a lot of empaths do. That's what
Yeah.
they do. They take it all in.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so the first time I had a drink, it was like, where have you been all my life? Like, I needed this to kind of get out of my mind and out of my feelings and feel some sort of
How old were you?
12 or 13,
Oh,
probably.
shit.
Yeah. And,
Hooligan? That's a Michelle and Judy age gap there.
well, you know, it was the Northland and mining country, and so everybody's parents were at the bar every day after work anyway, right?
Yep. Happy hour.
Culture based.
It was,
It's
and
what
then
it's what we do.
We, you know, my friend's dad's cabinet. He won't miss it anyway. So it started slow over the first couple of years, but then when I hit 16 and, you know, mining country out in the woods with all the parties and
Oh yeah.
all that good stuff.
There's
So,
no authority. There's no
Yeah.
no guidelines. No nothing.
yeah. So from between 16 and mid 20s, it was pretty hardcore. And I remember my freshman year of college, I'd get a pint like almost every day from somebody and walk around with it in my pants, like under my shirt, just through the hallways of college, and because we didn't always go to class.
Yeah.
No way.
That I know. I've never done that.
Right.
Hey, so Lisa, can we back up real quick?
Let's
So
back up.
you were 13.
I was 13.
And you said that you self-medicated. That so you had your first drink. You got a little buzzed, I imagine, at 13, and so you recognized that you were depressed at 13?
I don't know if I recognized it, but there was just something wrong. Like, I was
Yeah.
wrong, the world was wrong, because I don't think I could fix the things that I was feeling when other people would struggle, like the undercurrents. They'd say they're fine, right? I'm fine, things are good, or we'll get through it, or whatever it was. People in my life, they were struggling, but I could feel it, but I couldn't name it and I couldn't solve it.
I think
Yeah. Did you have any other guidance around you at the time, or were you kind of floating out there by yourself?
I did. Neither of my parents drank, so that was probably really helpful for keeping me sane-ish in my house. But my mom was we talked about a lot of things, and she would try to be like, you know, she was the one who was like, you have this family genetic history, like, don't touch that stuff. And I listened really well. But she also always said, do you have to learn everything the hard way?
yeah, for a lot of us, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, you know, she would say a lot, and I read a lot, and I was in that, like, in high school, we got elected as peer helpers. And so if people needed to talk to someone, they could come to their peers instead of an adult or whatever. So we had all that going on. So I was versed in, like, the psychological world, but at the same time, as some of you may know, we study that because we can't figure ourselves out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know what to do with myself. And it was always this, like, we had a phrase in the field called terminal uniqueness. And it was very much that. It was like, I have this empathy for others, and I know you all can do it, but I'm a lost cause, and I'm just so terminally unique that I'm never going to
Yep.
be okay.
How was your inner voice at the time? Was it very critical?
It was Stinkin Thinkin
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah. It was like, you're the cause of the problems because you can't fix them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cujo has a good question. He asked, what is an empath?
Oh.
So, in essence, you can sense the mood in the room, other people's emotions, whether they're talking about them or not. You get just kind of feel the vibe of everything all the time.
Pick up the energy of everybody else in the room.
Yeah. And then you exude that, and you can kind of, when they talk about walking a mile in someone else's shoes, it just comes very natural. You pick up on everybody's kind of vibe and where they're at, and you can easily just kind of naturally give compassion and empathy to others because you're already feeling it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd even add like it's further complex because sometimes I know, like for me, I never thought I was empathic. And I don't know if I would describe it now, but like, I think being fully seated in the emotional environment is a good way to describe it, because for me, I couldn't freely give it because I didn't know how to, but at the same time, whenever I felt that vibe or whatever, so we say vibe, you're reading, body language and other items in the room, you know, how words are being constructed, you know, if they're aggressive in tone or, you know, like despair in tone. It's like basically how people craft their environment through their actions, and you're sensing that. And there was part of me that I know for a long time that like you said, didn't understand. You couldn't put words to it. You're just like, something's wrong. And it just makes you like, you either get itchy on the inside or you can't sit with yourself for some reason. And for me, a lot of that push and tumult came from like this desire to fix, and we've talked about wanting to be a fixer, right?
Rescuer.
Like if I felt that I was not on the same vibe, or if it was a different vibe that like, oh man, this situation sucks, and I wanted to bring it up and I couldn't, you know, like that was confusing to me, because you're sitting with this vibration or this frequency around you that you're like, I can't fix this, you know, I can't give, you know, I didn't know how to give my empathy and emotion out, but I just had to like sit with that, and it made me like really uncomfortable, right? You know, because one, I couldn't put words to the situation or try and figure it out, and two, you know, like if you know, if something's wrong with the world, either that, we've talked about this too, that the child internalizes that.
Very much so.
It means everybody else is wrong or something's wrong. And if that's not the case, then I'm wrong or I'm broken. And, you know, the ego speaks up.
Yep.
And that's where it begins to grow into this. Like, I love the term terminal uniqueness. That's a good one. You know, ego has a wonderful way to always making it about themselves, even if you're presented with the information right in front of you. Meaning, you've talked about like how you could give advice or be empathetic towards others, but when you reflect that upon yourself, it just becomes immediately distorted.
Yeah, I was going to ask, being a fellow empath, when you were going through those experiences, did you ever have an outlet, and did you always want to fix other people because it was easier than to fix yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Well, and that takes us back to you guys' conversation from, I don't know, a couple months ago about codependency.
Yes, very much so,
Because
yes.
I think it easily morphs into that.
Very easily, yeah.
And so I dealt with that for a long time before I actually kind of faced it and started healing from it. But the outlets for me were, I need input. So I read everything I can get on a topic. Like when my family member was diagnosed with cancer, I was like, I need to know everything about this to feel like I understand what's going to happen. And of course, it never, you know, you can't live up in a book, but it does help to kind of know at least what's
have a rough idea. Yeah.
And then music just has saved my life more times than I can count. Just the ability to, I mean, it might be the most intimate thing in my life, really, because I think it's a way to express things that you can't necessarily get to. And then you hear it in a song, whether it's a melody or a harmony or words or whatever.
That's it right there.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm feeling right now. You know, and then you can play it for someone and be like, this is where I'm at.
Yeah, I was about to say, but you're that person just like all of us, like, listen to this song. It's the best fucking thing ever. And they're like, I don't
get it.
I don't get it. You know, this is, I would like to, let's have a future episode about our empathetic nature, because there's a ton to dive into it with.
Oh yeah.
Because I would like to talk about how it has impacted my professional life all of these years as well, because it's such a distraction.
Yeah.
Cujo was like, maybe, it must be tough being an empath, or some people might be thinking, whoa, this is like a superpower. Believe me, it's not. It's wildly distracting, because it takes us so far out of focus, because we meet people, and to Patrick's point, I'm a huge like, oh shit, do I need to give feedback? Do I need to rescue? What do I do? How do I fix the situation? Or you walk in, and because of self-esteem issues and developmental issues with me, as soon as I'm in a room, dependent on, I could be fully confident going into the situation and getting ready to nail something, and then I hear a whisper or my brain will just make up a story as well. So that's the other flip side of the empath, is we get the stinking thinking, which is half the time not accurate, to like, oh, they're feeling this or blah blah blah. So we'll get into that. Also, that Patrick, by the way, we're not going to have a hard stop at 11 for our viewers. I know a lot have to leave at the top of the hour, but we're just gonna talk until we're done. So sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that, just to share one of my empathic experiences. It was around Christmas, and I walked into Home Depot with my mom, and I was in there for 5 minutes, and it felt like there was 1,000 people screaming at me at one time, and I had to turn around and leave, because it was, I was so, of course, I picture everything as far as empathic as energy. And I was so wide open to receive everybody's energy that I got so overwhelmed I had to go outside and hug a tree. Literally hug a tree just to fucking deal with it. Yeah. So yeah, I can totally relate. But yeah, we should have another episode on empathy, because it's very, I think it does go a lot hand in hand with people who use alcohol and drugs to help deal with that, because they've never had any other way.
That's the mute button. We talk about getting,
exactly.
ADHD mind is more centered in the emotional part, impulsivity and the sensitivity areas. I wonder if there's
a correlation between empaths and people with ADHD
I would
or
assume,
ADD.
That's the chemical side of it, and we say empaths and like, that's why I tried to approach it earlier. People think empath is somebody that's like, oh, I can feel your feelings and is very in tune with that. But there's some people that have that ability and that are not in tune with it. Meaning like you feel like you get swept, like this is like Superman before he like knows his powers. He opens his eyes and he like burns stuff on the wall or crushes stuff for trying to do things. Like a person who's empathetic, who doesn't know how to control or emote or articulate their feelings, that's being swept away in a current on a regular basis that is so disorienting, and it's a drowning sensation almost. And so when that mute button comes along, and
it's easy to just thank you.
I can sympathize with you, because my first alcohol experience was very identical or nearly identical to yours, so you feel that sensation inside. Yeah, I remember that distinctly. Yeah. So, and then I want to thank you for sharing the music, because that's a wonderful one. That's always been a core for me. And I remember watching. I watched School of Rock recently. I don't know if you guys remember that movie. Jack Black. Yeah. And there's a scene where Dewey teaches them what a rock song, like before he's just like, all right, you got to know this, you got to play this way or whatever. And they're just like, they reach a point where they're feeling down, and he's like, well, let's write a rock song. And they're like, well, how do you do that? Right. And he's like, what don't you like to do? And they're like, I don't like doing homework. And he's like, homework sucks. And then he starts piecing it together.
Yeah.
And I'm just like laughing, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, oh my God, who's cutting onions in here? Yeah. What is going on? I'm like, where are all these feelings coming from? And I'm like, he's the teacher teaching the kids how to feel and like articulate and
Yeah.
grow as people.
Express their feelings
Right.
through music. Yeah.
And so
that's awesome.
I remember many times listening to friends' music and being like, I don't get it. You know, you think, but then now, you know, turning back, I love that so much that, you know, somebody would be like, hey, you want to listen to this? And even if I can't get into it, I'm always like intrigued now to just be able to sit with it and ask like, what of it, you know, even if I can't get into the music, I'm like, what appeals to the person on it? Or like, you know, it's always just like, it's the onion just waiting to be peeled back. And I just have to be patient to let that come to me to be able to.
You got to be curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Odie says that, hey, now Judy is a druid.
Yeah.
Thank you, Oak King. Anyway, I want to get back to more of your story.
Okay. So I think jumping back to the ego portion of empathy and codependency, the other piece of that I think that we don't realize at the time is if the other person can't feel better, it's my fault. So it's this like cycle of just self-deprecation because you feel like you are helpless. And so you want to help and fix, but then you try to, and either they reject it or it doesn't work and they're still sad. Like I've gotten to a really interesting point in my life where for some reason I end up in close contact with a lot of people who are grieving. And so I've kind of gotten really well versed in just being in a space with people who are grieving and allowing that to be what it is. And it seems to be that that's one of the more helpful things you can do when people are grieving. I mean, you ask what they need, of course, but
Yeah.
it's just Walt Whitman has a quote, "We convince by our presence." And I've always just really tied into that because I think just being with someone, sitting in their space with them and letting them know you're there, whatever, even if they need nothing but for you to be there, can be really helpful. But back in the day, obviously, I wasn't quite as well versed in it. And so it was like, well, if I can't be helpful to you, then I'm just not good enough. And so then I need to be better and try harder and keep going. And you just drive yourself
Start
into
gripping
a
it
tizzy.
harder.
Yeah. So it's really tough. But I don't know. Through high school, college, obviously, just lots of different experiences. By my early 20s, I was convinced I wouldn't make it to 30. I was 100%. I just knew. I'm like, I'm not going to make it to 30. But that said, I never planned on getting sober. That was not on my radar at all. Not even a little bit. Like, it was just like, this is what people do, especially in your 20s.
Right.
Yeah.
What you were talking last week about, well, how do you feel your time? Like, so I went to a counselor because I was depressed. Alcohol happens to be a nervous system depressant.
Yeah.
Go figure. And so I was feeling like I couldn't completely process things. And so I went to a counselor. In my first meeting with her, she said, I'm not going to work with you until you get an eval. And I'm like, whatever. I'm in my mid-20s. This is just what people do. I don't need that.
You're not
Yeah.
my real mom.
I'm a grown adult. I can
Yeah.
do whatever I want.
Foot stomp.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
So I was like, all right, tomorrow's my friend's birthday. The next day is my birthday. And I will quit the day after that. She's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
The calculus. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it was birthdays. You can't not
Right.
party on your birthday. So I was like, I'll quit the day after my birthday. And we did it up that weekend, of course. I don't know that I have a lot of recollection of the weekend, but we made it through. And the day after my birthday, I didn't drink and got my eval, went to outpatient, blah, 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 blah. We were nearing the end of outpatient, and it was just, I think it was twice a week for, I don't know, 12 weeks or something. And I was like, something in me said, if you don't find people to talk to about this after this, you're going to go back and die. I just knew if I picked up again, I was going to die.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah. And it scared me a little. In some ways, I was living that I want to be a rock star glamour, you're supposed to die young thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side, I was like, but I'm also supposed to have a life. So do I want to live it? Like, do I want to stay alive? And it kind of came to the place where I was deciding between those two. Because they're really cool stories of people that, you know, go out hard. And
Yeah.
sometimes when you're that age, you're like, well, that would be so glamorous to drown in my own vomit. Like, what?
Die on a toilet.
Yeah.
So I checked out a sober group. It was AA at the time, and it was women only because I was in a space where I just needed to not produce all my codependency on a guy.
Need feminine energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they like adopted me as their little sibling in essence for the next few years.
That's awesome.
It kept me going. And then one of the first, I'll just tell you the two first really big turning points in sobriety. The first one, I was 2 months sober, and I was packing up my apartment to move. And I was sitting there packing and listening to music, and I was like, I don't hate being by myself right at this moment.
That's one of the big ones is when you're like, oh my God, I'm by myself and I'm okay.
It was just so weird.
That's an amazing
It was cool.
step. Yeah.
Yeah. And a few months later, I realized I hate bars, and I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, weird.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around crowds. I didn't know that. And then the second one was huge. I was 13 months sober, and at the time, my bio sibling she went into labor, and I was there the whole time, and 40 weeks, baby came out stillborn.
Oh, wow.
And I was there, and I knew without a doubt that if I had still been drinking, I wouldn't have been there. I would have been at the bar. Call me when the baby comes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been there. I wouldn't have been in the room. I wouldn't have been able to. I took pictures for her because I have a friend who does that kind of business with newborns. They take pictures for the families, and so she has pictures of the experience, whereas she probably wouldn't have otherwise. And I know that at the time that was extremely necessary to have those, even of her daughter at the time, and it hit me so hard that I wouldn't have been there. And so for me, that particular turning point was really, I think, the last time that I seriously needed to think about drinking for a long time, because it was so impactful in changing my life at that moment.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's pretty heavy.
That's very vulnerable. We talked about the serendipity of the moments, being able to enjoy it when they're happy moments, right? And those are, those are fun to look back on, and be like, yeah, those were fun moments. We were so, because we were sober. But I too remember the moments, that are not easy to process. And, look, I'm sure that's a wonderful gift that you were able to give your sister. Looking back, there's a lot of care in that. It was not, but it's not like one of those things that you look back on and say like, oh, that was a happy moment, right? It's filled full of complexity, and the best I can put it, of getting sober was like the gratitude for just being able to be present there, to have the strength to be there.
And to recognize that the whole situation of you being there was a benefit to you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty potent as well.
It's pretty major. And a few years later, long story, we don't have contact anymore. Unfortunately, we were unable to keep a relationship. And so it's been years, 19 years, I think, since I really knew my bio sibling.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, but much love if they're out there. Yeah, so those are the first two really impactful kind of moments.
Now, is that when you realized how much alcohol affected your life?
I don't know if I've realized that yet.
Are we going to bring up Italy?
Are we going to bring up Italy? Oh, that's part of the Stinkin Thinkin portion a little later. Yeah, I mean, I knew it did, but I also so the third one was having kids. I've been so grateful that my kids never have to see it. They never have to see it. They're aware that it was a thing when I was young.
But they don't have the context.
They have no context. They've never seen me pick up a drink. They've never seen me really have it around. I tell them, like, there are normies in the world. Like, normies can go have a beer. We had a joke in the group I went to those first couple of years. One woman came back and said, one Wednesday, she said, I have these 4 friends, and they went to a cabin last weekend, and the 4 of them brought 1 bottle of wine, and they poured a little bit out at the end of the weekend. And we were like,
Yeah.
what?
Don't understand. Don't understand.
So there are those people out there who can do that, which is great. But yeah.
So to be clear, they weren't like me and Judy squeezing the bag of the last drop.
Yeah.
They were actually able to stop drinking and leave it alone.
Right.
Amazing
Right.
shit.
They didn't have to
That's
like
crazy.
switch up the stores they went to buy it because they were like, I
Embarrassed.
don't want to be seen buying too much,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm having a party. Oh, it's all for me.
Can I ask what age range your daughters are at now?
Yeah, so they're 13 and 11 now. And that is an interesting conversation to have because I want to educate them. And I'm very real with them about the world, about why I don't want them walking alone at night, even like, you know.
That keeps me up, like, because I also grew up for the generation of like, just don't. Right. And
Just say no.
You were sharing that too, and you're like, look how well that worked out.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
because if you grow up in the world of saying, like, I remember Dare, being
Yes.
like,
Oh yeah.
oh my gosh, if you do a line of Coke, you're going to be like running through the streets naked, like eating squirrels like a feral person with your bare hands and like going on a crazy thing. And
What was that movie that they did about smoking marijuana?
Oh,
Where the guy with
Reefer
the-
Madness.
Yes.
The
Oh my
classic
God.
propaganda where he just
Yeah.
like, whoa. And he like throws himself out the window afterward.
And then
Yeah,
the
it's
lady's
just-
playing the piano and he's sitting there smoking a joint going, faster, play it faster,
Right.
play it faster.
It's like-
I'm sorry, if you're smoking pot, you're not going to say it fast. You're going to be like, whoa, slow it down.
We laugh at that because like when that first, I'll be honest, when that first drink of alcohol came, you're like, oh, and you feel that release. And then
Yeah.
there comes the thoughts of like, they were fucking wrong. They fucking lied to me.
Yeah.
This is the best shit ever. What other shit are they lying about?
Yeah.
Right? And they've been scaring
Yeah.
all this other stuff. So I was just like, all right, time to do some science, like bring on the drugs. The point with that is like, I didn't have, if all I was being told was no and it's bad and the opposite was true when I got it, I had no bearings of how to process and understand how it worked.
Right.
Period.
Or control any
Or-
sense
yeah.
of
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody really told us how to think about that stuff. I mean, we had no, we had no structure, no guidance, okay, this is, if you start thinking and feeling this way, you should, try this, or there was nothing, for me, there was nothing there.
Yep. So
Yeah.
that leads me, that's why I asked, because your girls are of age, starting when your story, started about
Yeah.
the feelings
Yeah.
coming and
Yeah.
everything. So
Yeah, and it's the really interesting part, going back to that codependent stuff too. I've moved away from that as much as it's a learning process. It's a lifelong process. All of this is, right?
Yeah.
And so with them, I have to there's this very interesting balance of I need to let you live your life and do your thing and learn and fall and get bruised. But there's some guidance and finessing of how I address things with them. Like I have told them, if you end up at a party, people are drinking, you decide to drink or use something, call me. If you do that, that's you. I'm not going to control your life, but do not get in a car.
Do not drive.
So it's more framing it in safety, I think, for me with them, because if they're going to try it, they're going to try it. I'm not going to be able to, I don't want to be on top of them 24/7. That's their life. They have to figure things out. I will be honest with them about what it can do. I will be honest with them about where it can go and where it can take them. And when you said you did most of the damage while you were drinking, what other damages can happen? We're not
Yeah.
talking just from the drinking. We're talking
from social. I mean, I like I said yesterday, everything that I regret and I'm ashamed of, that my actions that I did, they were all because I was drunk or high or both.
Yeah. So just kind of putting it out there, and then like whatever you decide to do, safety.
Mm-hmm.
Call me. Don't get in a car. Don't drive. Don't get in a car with someone. Call me. Or don't be at a house where there's physical impending harm or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing as a parent that I struggle with on a daily is like, you know, you're not there to like, you can't wrap them in a bubble, right? And just be like, my only job is to protect them. No, my job is to give them the tools to deal with life. And it's unfortunate, you know, they may not learn all of them from me, and they may not even learn the ones that I'm trying to impart on. And it gets even more frustrating when you have the realization, I'm sure you've done with your girls, is like, you know, I look at my son and I'm like, you are your father's son. And I'm like, I'm going to be preachy until I'm blue in the face. But knowing that he's a person that has to learn it on his own, you know, like, I'm like, all right, if you're going to do this, look, we're going to put the hospital on speed dial. All right. I'm going to have the first aid kit right here. I mean, that's just being real about it. And I think what's even harder is the compounding things. Like, the thing about being a parent that scared me the most was I had to come to terms with a lot of my own demons and stuff first. Like, I had to grow myself up so I could help grow my children up.
Yeah, when we were talking about this yesterday, I don't know if you know, Lisa, but I have a daughter. She's 30. And she's in really bad shape. She's the majority of her adult life, she's been addicted to you name it. So she went through a methamphetamine phase, and she finally settled on opiates. So she graduated from heroin to fentanyl, which we know is a short path to go down. But the struggle that I have with it. So when you were talking yesterday and today about, you know, telling your daughters, hey, if you're gonna do this, then call me or whatever, that's so difficult for me to navigate, because mine's on the flip side, sort of akin to Patrick's too. Is he's well aware that his son is of his demon spawn, and that
I'm not gonna deny that, but I appreciate you phrasing it that way.
So my struggle is that on the rare occasion that I talk to my daughter, it's veiled, and she's like, well, I'm doing, and I'm just like, you're so full of shit. I 100% know what you're doing. So it's that empath portion too, and I know I know that she's not going to stop until she gets to the point to where she knows that she has to stop, if that makes sense. It's bad. So anyway, when you're in short, when you were talking about that yesterday, it gave me pause and a lot to ponder of how. So when I told Patrick, and he laughs sometimes when we say you're very patient with your children, he's like, oh my God, I'm not patient. But yeah, it's having, I think patience translates into having that awareness and the knowledge, like when he says, you know, I need to let them forge their own path with some guardrails on it, of course. It's something that I don't think I have the capacity to do right now. Maybe it's because I'm 2.5 years sober out of 30 years of heavy drinking. I'm still doing a lot of healing with myself, trying to navigate that. Maybe in a couple years I'll be able to better relate.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, don't let me watch your children. And if they call and they're like, Uncle John, I'm going to get drunk tonight, I'll be like, you're ruining your life. God damn it. You're going to be, oh my God.
Wait, just don't do it. I got a video for you. Pops in Reefer Madness.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
Okay, Lisa, we digressed. Continue with
fabulous.
your sobriety journey.
Yeah, so maybe I should show that to the kids. Yeah, I don't want it to be something taboo and plus, like, look at us, we're here we're doing it, right? Like it can happen where you come out of it. And I hope they never go down that path. I mean, I pray they never go down that path. But if they do, I get it. Like, I understand what's happening, and I will do everything I can to support them. But please don't. So that's the kids part. Another marked event was in 2019, and I'm 20 years sober now, so we're getting into the long term, and a lot of learning and a lot of growing and continuous growing, like it never stops. But 2019, I had a surgery, and I've never liked opiates. I don't like how they make me feel. I feel like I'm not really. But I was in a very stressed place in my life at the time, and I took them after the surgery. And I told you guys yesterday, one night I wasn't thinking, I drank a Diet Mountain Dew on top of an opiate, and it had this very interesting result. And I was like, it was almost that "where have you been all my life" feeling from the first time. It wasn't the first time, but it was that like, oh, I don't have to think right now.
Yeah.
And I went, uh-oh, let's not do that again. Because I was being very intentional about how often I took the pain pills, because I know myself. My drug of choice was more. Even though it was alcohol, it was more, right? Mm-hmm. And so it was a very good awakening as far as like, you know that it doesn't matter how many years you have, you always have to be aware. But occasionally you get comfortable. And it again also goes to, you know, you're still you, right? Like, I was still me. I still had that tendency. I will always probably have that tendency to, my physiological self will react to that stuff, period. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, okay, let's be aware of this, because even one little incident was like almost going back to age 13. Like, oh, thank goodness I don't have to think right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things with the opiates is that it takes all of that stress and that thinking and that especially for an empath, taking on all of that emotion, it just wipes it out, and you're like, oh,
just cut in "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend," playing.
Yeah,
you just like
yeah.
Have you heard Disturbed's version of it, by the way?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So good.
I like that one.
Yeah. So it was a good, I don't want to say wake up call, because I'm always aware, like, there's, you can't be around stuff, but it was a good reminder.
Yeah.
And that's important to have that self-awareness. We talked yesterday, and I revealed real quick that my family, all of them except for my half brother, who was addicted to heroin once and he quit, so good for him. Sorry, I was about to give his journey, but that's up to him to discuss. So having the opiate attraction is something that I'm well aware of. And real quick, if I could chime in, when I was in the Army, I had to just like this little lump on the inside of my lip, and it was a clogged salivary gland. No big deal. So I went to the Army dentist. Joy, by the way. Do not recommend. Will never shop again. 1 out of 5 stars. Army dentist. And so they removed it, and they just immediately prescribed Percocet. And I got back to the barracks and went into my room and took a couple of those Percocet. And it's the same thing, like, oh, it just instantly clears up all of the anxiety, the ADHD. It's like I'm mellowed out. I could think straight. Life is fine. There's no problems. Then for me, and I've told Judy this, I immediately start doing the calculus of, okay, how can this be my new thing forever? It's consciously subconscious. Yeah. So after about a week, I was gone with the 30 pills. I slept so good, and I found myself back at the dentist, and I was like, I'm in severe pain. Okay, honestly, I didn't need a fucking Percocet for a tiny little incision on my lip. A couple Tylenol would have been just fine, or nothing. Those heal really fast. It didn't hurt, but I went back and I was like, I'm in tremendous, severe, excruciating pain. I need more bed rest, and I need more of that Percocet. And I got in my car, and I was driving down the road, and something overwhelmingly just came out of nowhere. And I looked at the bottle that I got, and I immediately flashed like I'm going down the exact path of my mother and father and my aunt and you name it in my fucking gene pool, and I just threw them out the window into a field. Don't do that, by the way. Recycle medication responsibly. But I was proud of myself for that, and I recognized it for all of my life. When Judy had surgery, she was prescribed Norco, which is Vicodin times 3 or 4.
Granted, it was a fractured ankle, not a little infected salivary gland, but
yeah. So I shared yesterday that I would whenever she would need one during her recovery, I would go down to the kitchen. I'd grab one for her, and then I would take one and I would stash it away from myself because she got a prescription of like 120 a week. Wow. It was wildly over.
Yeah, I was definitely overprescribed.
So I recognized it again and knew exactly what I was doing. But anyway, fast forward, and I sort of piled onto your story, but it's that awareness that we have to have. So, I know it now, too.
It's a constant awareness.
That I may have to have shoulder surgery in a month or so, and I've already tackled on how I'm going to do my own pain management with that, and it won't involve... Because the poor doctors, I had a finger issue. I went to the ER once, and they're like, we're going to write your prescription for Vicodin. And I'm like, it's not that fucking bad. You guys just stop with the... fucking handing out pills like Tic Tacs to everybody, because this is the epidemic that we're in with opiates. So anyway, that's
the old timers say what, maybe further down the road, but I'm the same distance away from the ditch.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a real good one, Patrick. That is my next tattoo for sure. And then real quick before I got my soapbox, I hear some people also say that, well, opiates are okay as long as it has pain to work on. That's not true. Doctors have come out and they said, we're not sure where the fuck that ever came from. That was something that was developed during the same time that doctors were making sure that to remind you to smoke Camel cigarettes unfiltered because it's good for you and your digestion and stuff. But try not to fall down that path. I know I'm a huge anti-opiate guy, and I'm trying to be conscious of that because it fucking freaks me out. Judy she started to become addicted to them as well. And when we went to her surgeon, and I said just straightforward, like, I'm concerned about her ingestion levels of the Norco and how many
Let's start talking about how to taper off of it.
Yeah, and
the exit plan.
Yeah.
And the exit,
which they have no exit plan for any of those medications.
We've got several of those episodes. Patrick brought that up. It's good. But the surgeon just straight up said, let's get through this and we'll talk about addiction later on.
We'll deal with addiction later on.
What the where are we at? So, but anyway.
Yeah, that was...
It's so dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Like,
very much so.
Pain management and and now we've legalized more because we need to.
Yeah. All right. Sorry.
Anyway.
Thank you.
No, yeah. I will make a note about the army dentist.
Yeah.
Thank you.
1 out of 5 stars.
And there's 2 more marked instances that kind of hit my brain. The first of the 2 is when I went through a recent, few years ago, divorce. I've always kind of tied throughout a lot of my life, tied a lot of my self-story to relationships, to romantic relationships. And not always the healthiest presentation of how I wanted to change and grow and learn and process life. And so going through this, I'm not sure if it was just the intensity of my feelings around leaving the situation, or if it was because I felt like I needed to continue growing, or it was because I wanted to because I have kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it was a whole bunch of different factors, but I have done more healing in the last 2 years emotionally than probably in the past lifetime.
Do you think that was because you were actually ready to grow?
Possibly
at that point, instead of just before when you were dealing with stuff, external stuff.
Yeah. It was just, I think it all kind of came together, and I've done so much work on myself, and I continue to. But it just really, it was like the perfect storm in a good way of all these factors that came together, and I was able to just really push myself through some healing. And I've noticed now when I get into situations where I used to react more, you know, codependent or dysfunctional, I call myself out at the start of that conversation, situation, and I'm like, I am going to do this differently. I am not going to repeat these patterns. And I'll say that to some of the, like, if it's someone I'm close to, I'll say, I need to say this to you because I don't want to repeat my patterns. Mm-hmm. And so it's a very almost rudimentary change of calling out verbally what I am intending to do, because like, it's a reminder, you know, you get so ingrained in these patterns throughout your life. And even after you've been sober a while, some of them aren't totally resolved.
Yes, still working.
Yeah.
We like to think of ourselves as master architects of our own destiny that can think our way out of anything, and that we have ultimate, almost omnipotence, you know, total awareness. But the other reality is the thing is, like, we are just beings of behavior, right? You know, we have within ourselves little run scripts to like deal with certain issues and stuff, to deal with our known environment, you know, all that coding that we're in. And as much as we like to pump that ego up, that they're in control, that behavior really underpins so much of what we do on the daily basis, and it is like the foundation and building blocks of, you know, our identity. It's just that how we think about that is just window dressing at that point.
Yeah.
You know, we judge ourselves based on our intents, and we judge others based on their actions type of idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Lisa, is it fair to say, so you might be that the definition of the person that was just dry for all those years, and maybe 2 years ago you just got sober?
I don't think so. I think I pursued sobriety the whole time. I think I was a dry codependent.
Ah, God. Okay, that's
No, not even dry. I was just... I was learning and trying to grow from that, but I don't think I fully head-on addressed the codependency until a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and it takes, I know we've talked about a lot, sorry to interrupt, Patrick. It just takes so much damn work, and we constantly have those awakenings, so good for you for seeing that a couple years ago. Sorry you guys are going through it. The day after I quit drinking, I was absolutely perfect.
Bullshit.
My coach put this perfectly. And I remember, like, when you step into sobriety and you're like, wow, this is a whole big world, you know, of like all these different tools and how to deal with this and navigate it. And you're like learning new things. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he was a AA and an NA vet, and no longer with the programs. You know, he spoke to what he got out of it and what he was, you know, how he participated in the community. But he's very self-help, and, you know, does his living coaching people now and doing that, and not just dealing with addiction, but like of all manners. And he goes, friend, if, you know, so the world of sobriety, stepping into that is massive. That's like going into a lake, and then the world of self-help and personal growth is an absolute ocean, you know, meaning like
very, very,
you think about it, and it made me sit and ponder, like, that is the gift of sobriety to me, is like being drunk all the time was just pickling my emotions and putting them in stasis, arrested development. Yeah. And now that I finally take those shackles off and can develop, holy shit, the amount of tests that life will throw at you are exponential, but they will continue to come to you until you're ready to pass and grow. And if you're always moving forward, I mean, you know, when I was stuck in the drunken phase, it was always the same test over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And I'd be like, it's the definition of insanity.
Yep.
Right? Like, woe is me, that terminal uniqueness, right? And you're stuck there. But once you step through that door and you begin that personal growth, holy shit, the amount of tests, like, just keep on coming. But they're so varied, right? And they grow different aspects of your being and everything like that. And, you know, to be ready for those is just such a wonderful gift.
Yeah. I think also that what I find is like when I'm in the shower, I do my best thinking. That I would not have come up with a lot of the knowledge and the growth that I have made after I got sober if I hadn't had those little chances to really sit there and process through those little things, and not so much have some kind of trauma or anything come into my life and jar me into that one direction or another as far as growth, but just to be able to be aware of those little patterns and to grow from those thoughts, those aha moments. Oh, that's what that means. to be sober and go, oh yeah, okay, I get that now. I fully understand that now. This is why I acted this way because of this. Okay, I got it now. None of that growth would have happened if I was drunk or high. High, forget it. There's no deep thought when you're high. I mean, I've stepped in shallower or deeper puddles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, Lisa, Michelle has a question. So did you do a 12-step program?
Yeah, at the start.
Oh, okay, at the start. So Michelle says, after 20 plus years of sobriety, do you still go to a 12-step program?
I do not. Early on in my sobriety, I also started working in the field of treatment, and I didn't go weekly after that to the group because I was in it so much, teaching it.
Yeah.
Once teaching almost cements it more.
Oh yeah.
But
definitely.
man, working with the clients, man, it helped change so much of my perspective. And actually the parts about fixing were really, really easy to hit head on and not participate in because it has to be their journey. It has to be their journey. And so it really helped me move towards like, I'm here as a resource. I'm here as a support. I'm here to love you and love recovery and tell you about it. But that's not mine. And that's hard.
That's especially for somebody who wants to go and help those people. And sometimes you just have to sit back and say, this is what's going on, but you're going to have to go through it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've always kind of, I don't work in it right now, but I stay very close to it. And I keep a lot of people in my life that are participating in recovery, and I also keep people in my life, and my mom's a really good one who will call me. When I had that surgery and I had those pain pills, she's very sensitive to how I react to things. I remember I quit drinking for a little while before my 21st birthday, like over a year, and then of course it was my 21st birthday. And I remember within a week she came to me and she's like, wow. She's like, you're back to that. You had finally started coming back to yourself. In that time, you weren't drinking, and now within a week, you're like back to where you were. It's so sad.
Yeah, people can notice it. Real quick, while we're on that, it's kind of apropos. I got permission to ask if I could announce this, but Judy's dad, Michelle's dad, he lives here. He's my dad by forced adoption. He hasn't had a drink in over 9 days. He drank whiskey way back in the day, and then tapered down and got into beer. But we've told him several times, like, there's been a marked difference in his spryness and his mental acumen, and it's really, really refreshing.
Yeah.
And so he says that he doesn't see it, but so I think it's important for us to do the gentle nudges and let him know, like, hey, you're fucking doing awesome, and we notice a huge difference. Because to your point, your mom could tell. Us addicts and alcoholics, we think we're so fucking sneaky and smart.
Don't con a con.
Yeah.
Don't con a con.
Like, I'll just do a little bit. No one will know. Like, man, our fucking personalities booby trap us too, and just hijack it. It's people are well aware. But
Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah.
Well, and you can look at your kids and be like, you're not gonna get away with anything.
Yeah. Exactly.
I know it all. And they will anyway, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess we've been touching on it, but should we? Do you have anything more to highlight about?
I was just going to tell the Italy story.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
This is a good
No,
one.
that's a good
That's-
segue
that's a good one.
into stinking thinking.
Yes, very
kind of
much so.
mine.
Yeah.
So sober 20 years in September. Last summer, I was working on my long-term budget to make sure I can retire when I want to. And so I'm like, okay, pay this off, pay off the house, whatever. And then I'll retire. And I have promised myself I won't go to Italy. It's my numero uno. If I ever only get anywhere international, it'll be Italy. And so I'm like, I'm going to go there when I retire so that I don't have a time frame. Like, by that time, I probably will. My kids will need me or something, but, grandkids, whatever. But my plan is just to go to Italy with, like, no return flight and just see how long I'm going to stay. It'll be like, under the Tuscan sun, and I'll buy a villa and be a stud. Or I don't know. Anyway, I'm kidding. But
No, you're not.
well,
That's the land that the hobbits go to at the end. They're just like, all right, I'm gone now. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, off into oblivion, but a good one. And so I was thinking, I'll be, retired. I don't have responsibilities. I don't have to make an income. I will have what I need. I can literally go have wine with my pasta and just stumble around the cobblestone streets of Italy. Nobody will be looking for me. Who cares? Nobody will care. It doesn't matter if I go back and try that, and I'll be fine. I'm older. I'm wiser.
Yeah. I can totally do it.
Totally handle it because I could always ever only do one glass.
Yeah.
But who cares if I'm drunk then? Because I'm like old and wandering around the city doing nothing. And that lasted for probably a few weeks to a month. And for some reason, it made complete sense to me that this was a thought, that this could be a thought or a possibility in retirement to go do this. And then September came and I had my 20-year soberversary, and I bought myself a coin and I was super excited. And I told the group at work that knows about it. And I was like, this is awesome, 20 years. And then I was like, what are you thinking? Like, Italy, like, what? I'll go there because I want to see the countryside, but drinking? Like, are you serious right now? You can't handle that. What? And it took that long. After this long of being sober, it took that long for me to figure it out. And I was like,
it's amazing
wow.
what the brain will the stories it makes up and the little pictures it paints for you. And yeah.
So,
Yes.
Stinkin Thinkin.
Yeah. So that's the Stinkin Thinkin, the executive dysfunction too, in a nutshell. I think as alcoholics and addicts, we stumble around life with that constantly. It's what makes us very special and very unique people. It's what makes us good people and empaths and all the other adjectives you want to throw on it. But it's pervasive too, and that is
Very much so, yeah.
I've told Judy before, it is so fucking loud in my head sometimes. From the moment I wake up in the morning, there's just constant battles of the self-doubt versus you name it. And unfortunately, it's gotten a lot better over the last couple of years. When I was not sober, it was very prevalent, and we obviously know that a few drinks or a couple bottles of wine in,
Yeah.
never the one glass, never the one drink would ever do it. That's our problem, right? It was always a few into it and finally become, and it's so cliche too, like, oh, it quieted down all the evil loud thoughts, but that's the reality of it.
It just brings up more stuff, though.
So
Yeah.
I talked about like behaviors as an underpinning thing of a lot of our stuff. And I mentioned this yesterday, like sometimes our thoughts are not our thoughts, meaning like they're just justifications for our behaviors. Like our body has already decided to be somewhere else and do something. And the thoughts are just your mind catching up to justify that. And the way that manifests is that stinking thinking shows up, and I like to laugh because it's not like some dude on the, like in my head, that like, why don't you have a drink? It's not some dude in a black trench coat going, hey man, you want a drink? And you're like, that's so cartoonish. I can say no to you, villain. No, it's the best friend going like your brain. If your body's decided to do something, your brain speaks your exact language of how to appeal to you. Like he is the ultimate salesperson. Like, because afterwards you know, in the throes of addiction, you know, be like, I think I'm going to get drunk and black out and then maybe do a speedball and then a couple and wreck some stuff. And you're like, why are you pitching this? and then that guy gets a hold of it in your head, you know, the ultimate salesman, and like says that exact same thing over again, only in the language of your brain. And you go, fuck yeah. Yeah, I'm in on that. Double down. Right? And that's how it's funny how it works. You know, it's like, oh yeah. The body's like trying to validate, you know, all the work that you put in for retirement and everything. And then he just, you know, the ego slides in. It's like, hey, yeah, with all that Tuscan sunset, seeing everything, just imagine being plastered. Red wine. You can't even process anything, but it pairs so well with the pasta.
Yeah.
Validation. That's all Italy. That you got this. And it's just like,
you deserve
what?
it. You deserve it. You're here now. You made it.
Yeah.
You all these years of sobriety. Now fuck it all up. It'll be good.
It's just about the flavor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's supposed to be good for your health too.
Yeah.
It's got antioxidants.
Yeah.
Well, if you're worried about the antioxidants, just take the fucking antioxidants.
Eat a blueberry.
Eat a grape.
Yeah. I for me, I have to excuse me. I have to remind myself that my brain will lie to me. No matter how good it sounds, no matter what kind of smooth cover they put over, candy coated, whatever it is, my brain is still lying to me. So I have to remember that this is not real. This is not factual.
Yeah. It's very deceptive. Mine is fucking liar, little trickster all the time.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
and
But-
in the relationships too, right? And so I'm kind of
Yeah.
seeing a guy, right? And so I was talking about calling myself out. I have to, like, that lying to yourself. Like,
Yes.
if any little thing that normally I would have reacted to comes up, I have to like have a whole dialogue before I would have a conversation now.
It's like having to reprogram. You just have to keep redoing that over and over and over again until finally it starts becoming second nature, and you start to just go with, this is how I go now. This is how I
Will it get
do
there?
now. I hope so. I'm still working on it. I'm hoping that's where my goal is eventually it's going to become second nature. Still working on it, but eventually I'll get there.
Yeah.
It is funny for sure. You know, like we talk about how that voice can speak up in that chatter, and we also talked about being empathetic earlier and just being swept in that whole vibration of you know, everything. Like now, you know, raising awareness to those situations is also bringing that empathy to yourself. So self-care and understanding, and I think that's a big part of it. Like when that voice speaks up, you know, and he is saying like, hey man, you know, how about that drink? It's not just what they're saying now. It's like trying to be empathetic with the emotion, or like what the undercurrent of everything is going on, if that makes sense. Like, what? All right, my dude, you're saying something. I just gotta like get on the same page. Where are you coming from? Right? Because I've talked about it many times. For me, anger is my first emotion, but I found out that he is my shepherd, meaning like he's protecting something that the other emotions underneath. Like he's just trying to be my protector. And so, same with when those itches arise. Those validations and stuff like that, when they show up and like, hey, all right, trip to Italy, you know, doing all that, like getting plastered on the streets. Obviously you're trying to paint a pretty detailed picture, but you know, what are you here to talk about? And just trying to find that awareness to empathy. I'm not trying to, and that's the thing with empathy that I had to try to learn, is trying to learn to sit with it and be there, and not trying to reach your hand down and getting swept up into that current, trying to be a part of it. Right.
Yeah.
You know, to say like, I see you, you know, this is where you're at. You're feeling some emotions, but you know, I know where I am. You know, it's just, what do they call that in meditation? Sitting at the jewel. I can't remember. I'm gonna fuck it up anyway. But like just sitting at the jewel of awareness, like being able to be aware of our behavior, right? And really trying to see what like the underpinnings of that current are.
Are you talking about being the observer?
That's part of it. Yeah. that's what I was trying to reference.
Stepping back and just being the observer. No emotion involved, just observing what is going on.
Yeah, of course we say no emotion has evolved, but what I'm trying to articulate is, you talked about being able to want to help people earlier, and then you think terminal uniqueness. Learning to view yourself in the same sphere or realm or existence as those other people, trying to break ego, to making sure that you're not refracting everything through the prism of like, I am the center of the universe. Does that make sense? That's a lot of words for trying to say like, ego's job is to protect us and to make everything about us. That's not a bad thing. But when you have to sit back at the observer and say like, hi, ego, I see you trying to make this about yourself. Let me try and see how it's unfolding for everything else, or, from other perspectives other than that one.
Yeah.
That's huge.
that is huge. It's very hard to separate the two. I mean, for me, when I was drinking, a lot of my reactions were strictly emotional.
Yeah.
There was no brain in there anywhere. It was an instant emotional reaction, and that's how I functioned for a good portion of my drinking environment, my drinking career, I should say.
Ego's got the best sale of all. Ego goes, hey, I don't care what's going on, but I'm going to make this all about you. Show. What do you need?
Yeah,
I got it.
There was
I don't
no
care.
thought in there.
I don't care. It's all about you. And like when you can't make sense of the world, and you go, oh man, check this guy out. Like they got everything that I need.
This is all about you. Yeah.
Judy and I'm the same way. Judy and I used to get into so many arguments. I mean, deep, passionate, angry arguments about fucking nothing at all.
About leftovers one time.
Yeah.
That was Chinese food leftovers, and I swore that we didn't order Chinese food the night before. Of course, we were drunk and I'm high and didn't remember that we ordered Chinese food the night, but I could swear, even though I'm looking at the leftovers in the fridge, I could swear we didn't order Chinese food the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a huge argument over that.
Yeah. So with that thinking too, I was pondering, Lisa, that I'd have the opposite sort of. I don't even know how to articulate this. It's more like, so you romanticized going to Tuscany and having wine, and it really just burrowed its way in there. Mine holds me back. What I'm trying to say is that I still want to go to Cozumel, Mexico, but something deep inside me is like, you can't, because you can't have any beer.
Yeah, you can't drink, so you can't go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I haven't got past that. It's not that I'm worried about going and drinking, because I won't. It's
The experience doesn't make sense.
the experience no longer makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
experience doesn't make sense for Judy and I to go out to some of the places where we used to go to eat, because I can't drink. Those relationships
Yeah.
with the experience hasn't tied itself back together of being normal. You know what I mean? We just started going back out to Mexican restaurants. We found a couple good ones here, but that used to be a real heavy
Pattern.
drinking
Yeah.
ritual for us, was
Yeah.
our Mexican restaurants. So we just now found it. The first time I went to, I got pretty anxious, because just you go through the mourning process
Yes.
too. I went to do takeout about a year ago from one of our favorite places, and I ordered it, and I went up there, and I swear to God, I walked in and I just felt the deepest, fucking darkest despair. It was really hard to articulate. And I came home and I set the food down. I went in the bedroom and I just started crying. Like, what the fuck, man? And it's the
grieving process.
for non-addicts or alcoholics to understand that that's such a part of our lives and our identity and the linchpin of happiness. Everything that we did.
Yeah. If I may on this, that voice that goes, well, you can't fucking go to Cosmo. You can't do that. That's stinking thinking. That's horse of a different color. You know, instead of like when we learn to mute it with alcohol, reskinning it. That's like trying to say like that's reefer madness for your brain, John. It's like that's the brain playing propaganda. And I've talked about this too. You know, is like in order to build rules for the world and how we interact, it comes in a lot of like no's and don'ts and shouldn'ts and boundaries and everything. So I love that we're coming to this point on stinking thinking. Stinking thinking doesn't go away with more stinking thinking of a positive variety.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to let's call it Bob Rossing it, right? What would Bob Rossing, if that Cozumel thought came into your mind, you know, what would Bob Rossing it look like instead of trying to think it away?
Well, let's go. Let's make this Cozumel a pretty little tree, and
Or-
we'll just make it nice.
Or he'd just be like, hey, that's a wonderful thought. You thought of, you know, a place with a wonderful view, warm, you know, like, and you reached back towards memories that you had. And this is the hard part about getting sober. You are going to have good, positive memories that happened while you were drunk. And it's hard to tease those apart. And you go, hey, brain, thank you for like trying to bring me this wonderful memory that was tied together. There are many pieces about it, but you know what? Alcohol is not a part of it. It just happened to be part of that memory, but thank you for replaying that back for me.
Or you can think of it as okay, I understand that happened, and this is what I try to do. It doesn't work all the time. I just tell you that right now. But what I try to do is I say, okay, I know that's attached to that. But what I want to do is I want to create new memories without alcohol. So I'm going to take this step to create a new memory without alcohol attached to it.
Yeah. It's a happy little accident. Well, you have Cozumel on there, but
a happy little tree.
you had alcohol in there. But you know what happens if we just add a little dry brush on the side? You know, where we don't have alcohol in there. What would a tropical vacation look like? You know, where would I want to go? You know, like, and then all of a sudden, everything like begins to unfold in front of you when you're not just like immediately like the kid like shutting the doors, be like, fuck you, I don't even want to fucking think about that. You're a piece of shit. Fucking think about that. God damn it.
I know.
You know?
And just like all of us, I'm well aware that that's happening, but it's just, that's the stinking thinking. It's so,
Creeps in there, yeah.
It's pervasive, and that's the first thing that kicks open the door is like, hey, motherfucker, guess what? That happy little memory and all the work you've done, that's not what it's about. It's you were a beer drinker, man. You know, this is what you did, and you're not going to Cozumel without it. And that's where the discussions happen. Like I'd love to go to the Tuscan Hills, but I can't. I will. I'm not saying I can't, but it's the immediate picture is, how in the fuck would you do that? Would you go to a place that produces the best wine in the world and not have a fucking glass of wine?
Yeah.
Because there's a shit ton of grapes there too. You can have grapes without having wine.
Right.
Plus, they have good food there.
Yeah.
But you guys know what I mean.
But
Yes.
yeah, it's still that's part of, like we were talking about yesterday, the culture that is out there, the stuff we grew up with that was attached to that experience. So
Yeah,
you know, that's what was thrown in our face all the time. This is attached to red wine and white wine, and really good wine is attached to Italy. So that's part of
Food and,
yeah.
and it's
Part of the whole picture.
and it's the rest of the bundle that we alcoholics and addicts have, and that is what we just celebrated our third Christmas, and we acknowledged that, and it felt different, and it felt nice.
Yeah.
But
We are now starting to create memories without alcohol.
right, for the first year, it was, oh fuck, what are we supposed to do during 4th of July? That was a you know, that was
How do I get through this?
that was
What
Frank,
do I do with my hands?
yeah. that was Frank the Tank weekend.
Yeah.
And then
do I do
just
with my
you
time?
named that was all named the 12 or 13 holidays
Yeah.
that we didn't like. Oh shit, what are we here doing
Our
now?
first-
Beer miss, whiskey ca,
Yeah,
all the good holidays.
yeah,
It was our first, it's our first year. So it was the year of all of our firsts, our first anniversary, our first birthday, our first Christmas, our first Thanksgiving, our first 4th of July. I mean, it was all the the party excuses that we had to drink.
And that's what's taken a lot
yeah.
of work for me. Still, that's what I think unleashed that world of anxiety, depression, and panic after I got sober, which a lot of people will not expect. If you've got a mental health issue like I do and struggle with, then be prepared for that. Surprise, motherfucker.
But that's life. That is. I know it's scary and unknown, but that is again life showing up for the test that you are ready for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll continue to give that test, and until you pass. You don't end the game. You just level up for the next one.
Right. Right.
I would like to mod, please.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I don't cheat through life. I mod it. and that's the other thing that Judy and I have talked about is that all the benefits and all the new memories, but we don't see that now in our. We have to work at seeing those memories, right? You know what I mean? And we're available now too. That used to not be a thing. Patrick, when we were, a lot of our friends back then knew, like, don't call John and Judy on Sunday because that's their sacred day. They wouldn't, some of them knew it, some of them wouldn't, but that's because we were nursing hangovers and getting drunk again and doing the calculus of how we're supposed to manage this shit and then go to work on Monday morning. Mm-hmm. But now, that was the first thing that caught me when I got sober was, oh my God, if someone calls and like needs help moving a couch, I could even do that on a Monday night. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be, I'm in, well, no one call me to move a fucking couch on a Monday night. But,
Monday night movers.
But it's
Here to
nice.
help you out.
It's nice to catch I'm dependable and available now too. And I can do,
Which gives you a little sense of pride.
Yeah. We don't have to do the calculus of, we're going to a wedding. Oh my God, how much drunk are we going to get before we can figure out how to safely drive home? It's all that shit. It's all the stinking thinking that always happens.
Well, and even conversations, right? Like, you don't have to remember who you told what to and when and how that story was supposed to play out. And
right.
You're planning which place to go and what and who knows what. And it's so
Yeah.
exhausting.
Well, but we couldn't even go out to dinner because, our brain's telling us, okay, well, you have to go to a restaurant that either has a bar or serves alcohol. And we would completely, not go to a restaurant that didn't serve some form of alcohol. Yeah. And then when we quit, we found a restaurant down the street that had some of the best food that we didn't try because they didn't serve alcohol.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
this has been a great,
awesome
show.
Yeah, this has been
Thank
really,
you
really
so
nice.
much for coming. This has been fantastic.
This is amazing.
Thanks for having me.
This has been really good.
Yep, giving me a lot to ponder again between you and Patrick and Judy. See, free therapy. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Lisa, is there anything you would like to add on or discuss?
No, I think we're good. I just really appreciate it, and y'all just keep on keeping on.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone that's been actively engaged on the chat. This has been awesome. I think, were you guys watching? Did we cover any questions? There was a lot of just chatter on there.
There's been a lot of chatter between themselves. I think we tried to handle the questions that came our way as much as we can. So, like to see it going. So,
yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna start it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for the support. Man, we're creeping up to 1,000 very soon.
I know, I'm so excited.
We got a ton of subscribers. Fun fact, real quick, is that 3% of our audience is in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
I got my weekly stats.
But how do we travel there if we can't drink? Okay.
Yeah, right.
Right. Okay.
Eat fish and chips with a pint of beer. Duh.
I'm an Anglophile, so I'm just super stoked when he said that. Like, yes.
How was the music today? Was that good?
But there was one song that came on that was a little bit weird. I do have to say, they even remarked on it in the chat. They're like, "What in music is that?" Yeah,
It was when Patrick starts talking enlightenment, that automatically is going to come on.
I thought that was
weird
Tibetan
place.
bells that came on when Patrick talked.
Yep.
This is Reefer Madness. No. I'm out.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. Be kind to yourselves.
Be patient with yourselves.
Fucking be patient with yourselves.
You are loved.
You are loved. Okay, we will talk to you guys next weekend. Bye. Hold on.
Hold.